Hey guys, Break here, and today I wanted to talk about the Mythic Dungeon Invitational that's been taking place over the past few weeks and recently finished with the finals on Sunday, which I was watching. I actually didn't watch any of the rest of it, but I did watch all of the finals on Sunday. It lasted quite a while because it was best of 5 matches and it did go to 5 matches, but I actually really enjoyed it and I just wanted to give you my thoughts on how it all went. For those of you who know me, I do love Mythic Plus. I think it's one of the best, if not the best feature of Legion. I do quite a bit of it myself, usually get a half decent Mythic score. I do a bit of raiding as well, but I'm nowhere near as good at raiding as I am at Mythic Plus. I'm not even very good at Mythic Plus, but I don't know, I just like Mythic Plus, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I do like Mythic Plus, and I think it's great that they're trying to make it into a sort of esports. And you have to say it kind of succeeded if you look at the viewing figures of the Mythic Invitational. Despite there being very little advertisement and very little promotion, the finals were getting over 50,000 viewers pretty consistently, like 50 to 55,000 or around 50,000 on Twitch, like consistently, which was really, really cool. It put WoW up to like the second or third highest viewed game on Twitch, which is pretty good for WoW considering it's really not an esport or a Twitch game. We have what, like 2 big Twitch streamers and that's about it, so that was really, really cool. And I heard, didn't actually see it, but I heard that the rest of the tournament was also getting really impressive viewing figures and that it went up as the tournament progressed. Well, apart from like the very first where everyone just wanted to see what it was like, but viewing figures did increase, so people obviously were coming back for more and more people were finding out about it, so that's really, really good. And I have to say, it was all quite professional. Obviously there were mistakes, which we will talk about in a second, but in general the casting was good. The sort of commentary, actually I didn't think the commentary was that good, but it was okay. It was kind of funny, and I did like the whole dual screen where they could zoom into one screen but generally just commentated on whoever was winning, and then the other guys you could just see them catching up. You could see the DPS and healing meters. I thought that was really good actually. You could see the DPS meters, so everyone was kind of trolling about one of the warlocks on one of the teams who kept dying, also kept doing not great DPS. There was probably a reason for it. He's obviously an awesome player or he wouldn't have got that far, but it was quite funny to see that and let people sort of debate on what the reasons were for that. I think that was great. And overall, for a first attempt at a sort of PvE eSports, I know they've kind of tried it in the past at BlizzCons, but this is the first real attempt at a PvE esport, and I think it's done really well. And I'm pretty certain Blizzard are going to continue it in the future. We'll probably see bigger prize pools. I mean, there was a 100k prize pool and 50k for the winner, I think. But we'll probably see much bigger prize pools if the viewership remains and continues to grow as well as it has done over this tournament. But yeah, what I was watching in the finals, it was Free Marcy versus Honestly. They're 2 Australian teams, I believe, which is kind of cool. Free Marcy beat Raider.io or whoever it was, the favourites from EU, and they progressed into the final. Were 2-0 down and still came back to win it 3-2, so it was very impressive. It was quite exciting. I ended up cheering for them because they were already 2-0 down. I was like, oh, it's going to be embarrassing if they lose 3-0. I better cheer them on. And then obviously that made it more exciting for me because they did come back. But that's the thing, you could kind of just pick a team and kind of cheer them on, which you don't really do. Like even, I suppose even in like arena esports you do that, but I always find the crazy fast-paced of Arena and the fact that myself and quite a few people who watch Arena aren't actually the best at it and haven't done much of it, whereas Mythic Plus is slightly more slower-paced, still fast-paced, but obviously slower-paced than Arena, and you are more familiar with the dungeons, etc., so you can kind of concentrate more on the players and the team rather than simply what's happening, is someone about to die, who's going to win. I thought that was kind of how it excelled as opposed to PvP, as opposed to the arena tournaments, which I kind of like the arena tournaments as well, to be fair, and I do a bit of arena, so but I know a lot of people do not like the PvP tournaments, and despite them getting improving viewing numbers over Legion, I think it was nothing compared to the Dungeon Invitational, which was really impressive. But I feel I can sort of comment on this because I'm a big sports watcher. I love watching any sort of sports, even the sports lots of people find boring. I'm talking golf, I'm talking darts, I'm talking snooker and pool. I actually really love watching all of those. Like even golf, like, I don't even like playing golf, but I love watching it, like the big tournaments. And I got a similar feeling here. It was a big tournament, so I kind of was drawn in, and I was kept in by the engaging play, by being able to sort of pick a team to cheer on and see them progress. All the things that make those other sports so hugely popular was, that's kind of what drew me in. So Blizzard must be onto something here. I'm actually really excited about what's going to happen with this in the future, with some UI improvements, with some, learning from their mistakes, with some perhaps a bit better commentating, casting. I think we could see some awesomely engaging and fun experience for the viewers and obviously the players. And I do think that this could be a big thing for Blizzard. I think they've hit something quite special here. I mean, WoW is a PvE game. Let's be honest. PvP has always been a sort of background aspect of it, and there's never tried to be any sort of esport for PvE. The Mythic race, Blizzard don't even cover really. They tried to do a couple of things in Legion, but it was never really that successful. But I mean, this Mythic Dungeon Invitational was on another level entirely. And let's be honest, esports are a huge part of drawing people into games nowadays. You hear about these League of Legends stadiums filled with people watching the esports. Lots of channels are starting to, like TV channels and news channels are starting to cover. I'm in the UK, BBC News now has a whole section whenever there's a sort of Rocket League or League of Legends or Dota tournament on, and it will cover it just like it covers the Saturday sports. So I think that's really cool that we could actually see Blizzard competing with some of these. I don't think for a while, but I think eventually with some improvements it actually was exciting to watch. And I can imagine people actually being drawn in. It was quite simple. You could easily see what was happening. They're trying to complete a dungeon. They don't want to die. They want to do things quickly. There's a timer. Even if you don't really play the game, you could still be engaged and kind of interested by it. Just like, I don't play golf, but because of how it was set out on TV and because it was quite exciting because I picked someone that I wanted to cheer on, I now sometimes do watch golf. I don't always watch it, but I do watch the big tournaments because I find it engaging, even though I don't play it. So could this draw more people to WoW? Probably not many in the short term, but in the long term, I definitely think it's got an opportunity to do that, and that is really, really good for the game. I mean, there was one point when Free Marcy were 2-0 down in the series, and they had to win the next dungeon to stay in the competition. And it was Upper Karazhan, the last boss, and honestly wiped to the last boss. And they were in the last 20% or something, and they wiped. That's the kind of excitement that a lot of people were saying, oh, it's fixed. They're just trying to make it more exciting, which I'm pretty certain it wasn't fixed, but it was kind of cool that happened, and it did make it a lot more exciting. That's the thing with any sort of timed event where there's punishments for deaths, especially in something like WoW where it is very easy to die, and this high level Mythic Plus, it does make it very exciting because the game's never really over. Even if a team's like 2 minutes behind, if there's a wipe on the other team, that's 30 seconds basically, plus running back to your corpse, plus maybe having to deal with any ads that you didn't see before. That's a huge bunch of time that you could probably catch up, 2 minutes. So the game's never really over. Did I just say running back to corpse? I meant running back to where you died, because you don't run back to corpses anymore. However, there are certainly some improvements that need to be made. There was one point in Halls of Valor where Free Marcy couldn't release. In fact, it happened twice. It happened in Halls of Valor, and it also happened in Upper Kara. There was some sort of bug on the server where Free Marcy couldn't release their corpses, and at one point they just reset. It happened at the start of Halls of Valor. They just reset the entire thing because, well, it just wouldn't be fair to continue. They had to reset the dungeon, which obviously wasn't great for Blizzard. It wasn't very professional, was it? And in terms of the upper Kara, I believe at one point Free Marcy couldn't release for a bit, and then a GM went in and rezzed them, so they didn't even have to run back to their corpse. So that kind of gave them an advantage, but also maybe it didn't because they couldn't resurrect for a good minute anyway before they got rezzed by the GM. So, and again, lots of people saying, "Oh, it's fixed. Oh, what are they doing? That's not fair." And you never want situations like that because you always want a fair fight, and you never want people saying, "Oh, Blizzard have fixed it to make it more interesting," or whatever. When again, obviously they haven't done that, but it was kind of interesting how the bugs generally did favour Free Marcy and generally did make the whole thing more interesting, because if the final did end 3-0 to Honestly, that wouldn't have been great, would it? The fact that it did come down to the final dungeon made it a lot more interesting. But again, as I've been explaining, that is very much possible with a sort of dungeon event like this because of the deaths, because of how it's never really over until it's over. You know, always mistakes can be made, and that's the kind of whole reason why sports and esports can be exciting and why I enjoyed this event so much. I don't know if this did happen. I'm pretty sure it didn't. I think that the event just ended. But I'd have loved a sort of interview with the winners afterwards, like over Skype or something, just like they have in, say, football, soccer for you Americans. When the game finishes, you interview the manager and like the man of the match. That would have been really cool to see. Again, that's something they could add if they decide to continue to do this, which I'm sure they will. And yeah, the commentators, I don't know, the casters, whatever they're called, commentators, they could have done a better job. I thought sometimes they were a bit flat, but it's very hard. And let's be honest, they are new members of the Mythic Plus sort of circle, as everyone is. They've never done anything like this before, and I think considering all of that, they actually did do a pretty good job. I did like the random bits of like lore or the random bits of information about the dungeon they put in. So it kind of helps you as a player learn from their mistakes, and you know, helps you understand a mechanic that perhaps you never even noticed before, because you only do the dungeon in +5, and on +5 it doesn't do any damage, but then on +17 it can one-shot you. So I think that was kind of cool. But I think overall, as with any sort of esport or normal sport, they want to engage the audience and make you want to play. Like if I watch an exciting football match, I kind of want to go out and play with my friends. And I actually got the urge to do some Mythic Plus after watching this. Right now, in this video, I'm doing some Mythic Plus. Not very high, but still. And, you know, to get engaged and get the audience kind of hyped up, just as the Mythic Dungeon Invitational did, I thought that was really, really impressive. And I think that's going to be the key to its success in the future. Keeping up the engagement, keeping up the competition. And all I can see is more exciting games. You know, more people, if they up the prize money especially, more people are going to be interested in getting involved. It's going to get more competitive. There's going to be more sort of practice, and things are going to get really tight, and it's just going to come down to the finest of margins. One person just dying and then wiping the group. And that's just going to be really exciting. I cannot wait to see where this goes, to be honest. And I think for WoW as a game, and especially WoW as an esport, this is a huge step forward. And yeah, but that's my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you thought about this. Did you watch it? Did you not? Did you not even hear about it? And if not, then Blizzard probably should do a better job advertising. But that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and until next time, see ya.